What up, people? Welcome to another installment of Mike Steph's Wrestlemania Memories. I believe I would be up to Wrestlemania 15. But guess what? This will be a double episode. Or, man, not really. This will be a installment where I talk about Wrestlemania 15, Wrestlemania 16, simply due to the fact that I did not watch Wrestlemania 15 when it came out, and this is based on my memories of watching it in real time. I did kind of recap it, or should I say, get recapped from various wrestling magazines, because they started sprouting up again after 97, 98, into 98, 99. They start coming out with non-kayfabe wrestling magazines. Like, not so much dirt sheets, but magazines that you could buy from the newsstand, and it would give you a lot of the insider lingo, the insider dirt sheet talk, and so forth. They didn't insult your intelligence like I grown to resent Pro Wrestling Illustrated and the wrestling, Inside Wrestling, and the aftermags back then. One of the wrestling magazines that really captivated me at the time was WOW, World of Wrestling, which coincidentally was created and I believe helmed by Bill Apter after he finished his time with the quote-unquote Apter mags. I believe this magazine was, I want to say they emanated from Europe, but it put all the old magazines to shame. I mean, it was double the size of a regular magazine, and it was in full color, glossy page, and they did not shy away from blood. They did not shy away from colorful language. Pretty much it was like as is. And they would give you reviews of the match, what was going on backstage, and so forth. So that's how I actually was able to keep up with wrestling. I want to say the end of 98 to the middle of 99. I believe once SmackDown became a thing, SmackDown debuted in April of 1999 for a special episode on Channel 9, UPN, so forth. And then it became a weekly series in August, the end of August 99. And I believe that show was headlined by the new WWF champion, Triple H, fresh off his victory over Stone Cold Steve Austin in SummerSlam 99, against the People's Champ, The Rock, with Shawn Michaels, HBK, the special guest referee. So that's when I started becoming fully re-engaged with wrestling. I want to say summer 99, when wrestling got back on the national TV stage. Free TV, if you will. Because at that time, this is 99, so I had to be about 22 going on 23. Newly married. I got married in February 16th, 1999. Still had 2 children, 2 boys to be exact. My 3 going on 4-year-old son, Nakai, and my 2-year-old, Mikey. But being the fact we're newly married, we're newlyweds, got 2 kids, listen, had to make bucks stretch, and the legal cable back in the days was Ixnay. So, we just had regular cable. We had regular TV, and we was back then. You was going to work, come home, be parents, or off time, free time, go out. Really wasn't trying to be in the crib for so much. And, just cable was cable, but wasn't really need for it. So another thing that got me really re-engaged with WWF in particular at this time, and I got to give a shout out to my bro D Clark, because in the lead up to WrestleMania, he taped every Raw, Monday Night Raw, and he gave me about 3 VHS tapes, I want to say about 6 hours each, that literally allowed me to get up to date leading up to SummerSlam 99. Now, I know this is the WrestleMania Memory Series, but I have to let you know my background leading up to WrestleMania 2000, aka WrestleMania 16, but they did not say WrestleMania 16, it said WrestleMania 2000, because this is right around the Y2K, oh my God, the world's gonna come to an end, the debut of Y2J, Chris Jericho, the whole nine. So WrestleMania 2000 emanated from Anaheim, California, and it was interesting in so many ways. A lot of multi-man matches. It's almost like WrestleMania 41 was an ode to WrestleMania 2000, 25 years later, with all the multi-man matches. And guess what? Guess what that has in common? The main event involved Triple H as the reigning, defending WWF World Heavyweight Champion. And Triple H was in charge of the booking, of the direction of WWE at this time, leading into WrestleMania 41. In the main event, you had a fatal four-way elimination match involving Triple H, the champion, the Big Show, who debuted a year prior at St. Valentine's Day Massacre and came into this match as a former WWF champion. The Rock, another former WWF champion. And Mankind, fresh off his retirement, when he came out of retirement for his WrestleMania main event, in which he probably should have reinvented the year before, when it should have been a triple threat. But neither here nor there. But I'm going to say the biggest part, well, I guess in terms back then, the biggest part of that WrestleMania main event was the hook wasn't the participants. No. The hooks were the fact that each participant was going to have Ed McMahon in their corner. You had Vince McMahon. Matter of fact, no. You had Stephanie McMahon in Triple H corner, because at this point in time, this was the beginning. Well, matter of fact, we was in the middle of the McMahon-Helmsley era. Yes, Stephanie McMahon debuted and quickly turned heel when she turned against her father and went to marry. Yes, that's right. Marry, in storyline, Triple H. And Triple H and Stephanie McMahon reigned supreme over the WWF after they expelled Vince McMahon from the company. Vince McMahon was an interesting character back then, because at the middle of 99, summer of 99, he was wrapping up his feud with Stone Cold Steve Austin in the end of an era match. First blood match at Fully Loaded. Stone Cold versus The Undertaker. If Stone Cold won, Vince McMahon had to leave the WWF. And of course, Stone Cold won and retained his title. So you didn't see Vince McMahon anywhere until that September. So he went away for a month. And then he actually beat Triple H for the WWF Championship. Quickly vacated it. Ended up a six-pack challenge where Triple H regained the championship. Then they were feuding until Armageddon 1999, in which they had the match. And that's when Stephanie came out and turned against her pops. So we have Vince McMahon in the corner of The Rock, which should have rang alarm bells. Like, hold on, why is he in the corner of The Rock? Rock, are you that stupid? But they had a history, the corporate champion, the whole nine. So fine, right? Then you had Shane McMahon. Oh, you can't forget about Shane O'Mac. Shane McMahon was in Big Show's corner. And Linda McMahon was in Mick Foley / Mankind's corner. But in actuality, no. Mick Foley was in the main event. Mankind was not in the main event. Cactus Jack was not in the main event. Dude Love was in the main event. Mick Foley was in the main event. So, long story short, McMahon turns on The Rock. He joins his daughter and his son-in-law at the end, and they end up screwing The Rock. And The Rock, they sent home the masses very underwhelmed, because that was the first time a heel had actually won the main event of WrestleMania. The Rock got his revenge. The Rock won his championship match, got the belt back at Backlash when Stone Cold made a brief return, but neither here nor there. That was the first time in 16 WrestleManias that a heel won the main event. In other matches, we had an influx of WCW talent, because in January 2000, we had the Radicals. We had an influx of WCW talent. We had He Who Shall Not Be Named, who murdered his family. We have Eddie Guerrero. We have Perry Saturn. And we have Dean Malenko, the Radicals. So, one of these matches had Chris Jericho, the European champion, versus the Olympic hero, Kurt Angle, who debuted that past November at Survivor Series, who was the Euro Intercontinental Champion. He came into WrestleMania with both belts. And then we had He Who Shall Not Be Named as the third participant. He Who Shall Not Be Named left with the IC belt, and Chris Jericho was left with the European Championship. We had a whole bunch of kind of corny matches. We had Right to Censor versus The Godfather and somebody. We had Head Cheese. Oh, you can't forget Head Cheese. Al Snow and Steve Blackman. Matter of fact, did they go against the Right to Censor? Perhaps. We had a hardcore invitational battle royal for the hardcore championship, in which Taz would have been the front runner. So of course, Hardcore Holly exited that match as the hardcore champion. Cause why not? Why would you give Taz a belt? Taz didn't end up getting championship gold until 2002 with his tag team with Spike Dudley. We had the first three-way ladder match that later on would be known as TLC, with the Hardys, Edge and Christian, and the Dudley Boys, in which Edge and Christian, of course, ended up victorious. Yeah. I believe, did we have Lita versus Stephanie McMahon for the Women's Championship? I believe so. We had TNA. TNA, yes. The debut of TNA. Test and Albert. And some Stratisfaction with Trish Stratus. What else? One of the other selling points of this WrestleMania 2000 was For a grand total of $49.99, you can get the whole day experience. WrestleMania all day. 12 hours. You get the 4-hour pay-per-view plus 8 hours of a pregame. In which, yes, I did indulge. They got the extra $10 out of me. Sue me. So what? By that time, I had cable, baby. I had bucks. I had big bucks. Now, if you think about it, this past WrestleMania, we had, 16 hours of wrestling content over 2 days? Matter of fact, no, of WrestleMania content over 2 days, not including NXT Stand and Deliver. And if you, matter of fact, if you're on a free tier, a Peacock, all free. But 25 years ago, $49.99 got you 8 hours. With the likes of Ivory, the likes of Jackie, the likes of Terry Reynolds, the whole nine. Michael Cole with the soul patch, the whole nine. But this was, at the time, I won't say it was underwhelming, but it was not up to the expectations that a lot of people had held for that WrestleMania. They had the talent. They were overflowing with talent, hence why so many multi-man matches. The match of the night was the three-way tag team title ladder match. So, I was a Y2J fan. So when he left with the European Championship, I was like, oh, okay. And he lost it the next night on the Monday Night Raw right after WrestleMania to Eddie Guerrero with his Mamacita, China, in the debut of Latino Hits. Oh, hey, oh, hey, oh, Rico. Oh, hey, oh, hey, oh, Suave. Latino Hits. Ooh, Latino Hits. Ooh, Chavito. I know I'm getting ahead of myself, but yeah. WrestleMania 2000 was a thing. Now, just to recap WrestleMania 15, which should have been a milestone, but it wasn't. People say that was the peak of the Attitude Era. No. That was the peak of the Russo era, to tell you the truth. It wasn't the peak of the Attitude Era. That would be coming in next edition, WrestleMania X7. No, not WrestleMania 17. Because for some reason, at the beginning of 2000, everything had to be extreme. Hence, X7. And then following, WrestleMania X8. It's almost like Vince McMahon had always had something against ageism. So when it started creeping up, I want to say, what was it, after WrestleMania? I think after WrestleMania 30, he ixnayed the numbers. And this was a little symptom of that. WrestleMania X7? What the is that? WrestleMania X7. WrestleMania 17. But we'll get to that next episode. WrestleMania 15, the results went and followed, from what my memory. Stone Cold regained his championship over The Rock in the main event. Mankind lost. Matter of fact, he beat The Big Show because that match was to see who would be the special guest referee in the main event. We had The Undertaker in his Ministry of Darkness hang the corporation's big boss man from a Hell in a Cell. Yes, literally hung him from the ceiling of a Hell in a Cell. Yes, when the Brood and the whole nine came to torment his lifeless body. We had Sable showing off her tatas. We had the Road Dogg becoming the IC champion. We had Badass Billy Gunn becoming the hardcore champion. Why? I don't know. She had a whole bunch of stuff. We had, more importantly, we had the turn of Triple H. Triple H was a beloved fan favorite with DX. And this dissolution of DX happened at WrestleMania 15. In which he lost to Kane by disqualification, and due to China's interference or something, because China went to the corporation, and then they returned and screwed X-Pac, and they reconciled. They had the reunion of not Triple H getting China away from the corporation, but China bringing Triple H to the corporation. And that's when we start having Hunter Hearst Helmsley no longer be Hunter Hearst Helmsley, be Triple H, and not degenerate Triple H, but piece of shit looking Triple H with the beard and the leather jacket, and and he started gassing up. And the leather Kango. And you start hearing a little bit of southern twang to his Boston accent. And that was almost the beginning. Well, actually, the beginning of all the 20 minutes promos at the beginning of Monday Night Raw. 'Cause I'm Triple H, and I am the game. Yeah, but either here or there. So next installment, WrestleMania 17. Some would say up until WrestleMania 40 was the best WrestleMania ever. Some would say, even including WrestleMania 40, it was the best WrestleMania ever. I don't know. But we're going in past tense. We're going in time. Back in time to April 1st, 2001, when our next installment of Mike Steph's WrestleMania Memories. So until then, I'll bid you adieu. Goodbye.